Hey guys, Jeff Thompson here. Well, congratulations for taking the next step. This video is going to be a quick overview of some of the tips and strategies that I developed to help you profit from paid stock promoters. Now, if you're on this page, that means an activation email has already been sent straight to your inbox. So you'll need to click on the link inside of it to confirm that you want to receive my exclusive PDF guide. You don't need to do this right now. You can just do it after the video is complete. But you will want this guide because it's essential as it contains my entire strategy, whereas this video is just sort of a high-level overview of how to utilize it. Okay, before we get started, I'm going to quickly explain why there is a Buy Now button on the right-hand side of this page. As previously explained, I am a stock promoter, and I have a very specific method to identifying the stocks that I want to promote. Now, people assume that stock promoters will just promote any stock that someone is willing to pay them for. I can't speak for all promoters, but I am incredibly picky about which stocks I choose, and here's why. I get contacted just about every single day from someone who wants to pay me to promote a stock. If I wanted to, I could probably do between 4 to 5 paid campaigns per week, but I don't, and the reason I don't is because my members pay a premium price to receive my promoted stock picks. Since I have a cost for my service, my members expect it to be a quality product, or else they won't continue to pay for my service. That's why I scrutinize every campaign I'm offered so that I can narrow down the picks that I personally believe have the most potential for my members to profit from. I have a list of specific criteria that I look for to determine if I think a particular stock would be a good offering for my members. Out of the 20 or so that I receive each month, I select generally between 2 to 4 of them per month to actually promote. And that's why my members pay a premium price for my service. So here's my offer to you. For the next 90 days, I will provide you 1 full year of my service for a one-time fee. This is a promotional price only, as my regular service is actually a monthly subscription. For this one-time cost, you'll receive 2 to 4 stock picks from me each month that meet my selected criteria for promoted stocks. I'll do the legwork for you and provide you with the best possible opportunity to profit for the promotions I'm working on. In addition, you'll receive this information before I release it to the general public, which could possibly give you an edge in getting a promoted stock at the right price, since that's how you maximize your potential profits in a promoted stock. So if you're interested, you can have 1 full year of my stock picks. Now, considering my members pay almost $600 per year for the same exact thing, I think it's a pretty fair trial offer. I will also offer you a 60-day money-back guarantee on this service if you determine that it's not a good fit for you. All right, enough of the sales pitch. Let's get started. So, who are stock promoters? Basically, stock promoters are people who have built a certain amount of expertise and credibility in the investment community. What you need to know is that stock promoters are not registered investment advisors. Now, I'm not trying to paint them in a bad light by any means, because the fact is promoters are generally much more knowledgeable than your average trader. Because if they weren't, no one would really subscribe to their newsletters. Now, because they are not actual advisors, you'll still want to do all your own research before considering investing in one of their promoted stocks. How it works. Most stock promoters operate entirely online nowadays, so what you'll find is they will have websites that offer stock newsletters or even specific stock tips straight to your email. Occasionally, a promoter will be approached by a company or representative of that company to offer coverage of a particular stock. You want to think of this as nothing more than an advertisement to attract investors. The company's goal is to build a strong investor base so that they can have the funds necessary to continue the growth of the company. Now the question then becomes, why would a good company need to advertise their stock? Now this is the first response I hear from people regarding stock promotions. If this company is so good, why do they need to advertise just to get people to invest in it? If it was a good investment, wouldn't investors already be buying it? Now this always cracks me up because people don't understand that what they perceive as a good company are the ones that actually bombard people with the most advertising. Companies constantly have to advertise their brand because fickle investors will completely forget about them if they don't. There are literally hundreds upon hundreds of highly undervalued companies that just don't get the exposure they deserve because they just simply can't compete with companies who have million-dollar advertising budgets. Many of these companies have excellent growth potential, strong financials, breakthrough products, but they just don't get the exposure or recognition they deserve from Wall Street investors. For these companies, the most affordable way to reach the investor base they're looking for is to hire a stock promoter. Okay, now that we understand the background, let's just jump straight into the secret strategies you can use to make money off of paid stock promotions. Now, I'm not going to cover how to find these stock promoters because I'm assuming that most of you know you can just search on Google or Bing or Yahoo for keywords like penny stocks, stock advice, stock tips, stock newsletter, and you'll literally find a few hundred websites that will offer you their services if you provide them your email address. You can sign up for them as many as you can find, and what I'll do here is teach you how to weed through them and find the ones that you want to pay the most attention to. So, let's go straight to what to do when you receive your first stock email from a promoter. Number one, I want you to scroll all the way down to the bottom of the email and read the disclaimer in its entirety. What you're looking for here is what's called a payment disclosure. It is a requirement by the Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, that all promoters disclose any compensation they have received to offer coverage of a company. There are two ways that a promoter is typically compensated. Either a promoter can receive compensation in the form of shares, and here's an example of this, or their compensation can be just in cash, shown here. Now, there are different strategies to investing in a promoted stock when it comes to payment in cash or shares, so I'm going to start with the shares first. When a promoter has been compensated in shares, this puts pressure on the promoter to increase the value of his own stock in order to make the campaign as profitable as possible for the promoter. If the promoter fails and the stock price doesn't increase, he doesn't make any money. So this puts you and the promoter on the same team because both of you need the stock to go up in order to profit. And that's a good place to be. Now the next step is to pay special attention to the amount of shares being given to the promoter. You'll want to identify the current dollar value of those shares, as this is key in determining a promoter's ability to do their job. The dollar equivalent in shares should be a minimum of $250,000 to consider. And remember, this is the current value of the stock, not what it could be if the stock goes up. For example, if a stock is at 50 cents a share, the promoter will need to have a minimum of 500,000 shares for you to want to consider this promotion. And here's why. You're looking for a large amount in compensation because it is showing you what a promoter's value is based on their past performance. Now, I say past performance because promoters are not actually allowed to guarantee any results based on current market manipulation rules. However, it can be assumed that someone who gets paid that much has obviously shown that based on past or previous campaigns, they have a proven track record of results. No one is going to give that kind of money to someone unless they've seen a previous result, maybe on a previous campaign, that make them see the value in spending that much money. A promoter given the equivalent of $250,000 in shares is just much more likely to get results than one who's given the equivalent of, say, $20,000 in shares. Now, let's get into restricted shares. I would never advise anyone to consider investing in a promoted stock where the promoter has been paid in restricted shares. Without wasting too much time on explaining what restricted shares are, I'm just going to tell you that any promoter who accepts restricted shares, simply put, has no idea what they're doing. It also shows you that the promoter will take just about anything to feed you some terrible stock pick. No serious promoter ever accepts restricted shares. The only ones that do are the newbies who are trying to break into the world of paid promotions, and they just don't have the reach of a good promoter. What ends up happening is you get stuck holding shares in a company that you can't sell because the promoter doesn't do their job by bringing investors into the stock. This means you get stuck holding the bag, so to speak, because you now own stocks in a company you can't sell. Now that's not where you want to be. Okay, so promoters compensated in cash. Now this is a slightly different strategy. Cash promotions generally offer faster potential gains over a shorter period of time because the promoter isn't trying to sell any shares. So what you'll typically see with cash promotions is that the stocks will move much faster, sometimes as quickly as 24 to 48 hours, whereas a stock campaign paid for in shares can typically run as long as 2 to 3 weeks with steady gains. Now both are equally profitable in terms of percentage gains. Cash promotions just move much more rapidly than share compensated campaigns. For cash promotions, you're going to look at a bare minimum of $50,000 to $100,000 in cash paid to the promoter in order to consider investing in a promoted stock. Once again, this is the way you determine the worth of the promoter based on their compensation. If a promoter is getting paid this much in cash, it's because he's proven his value already based on previous results. Now, they just simply get paid that much because they're good at what they do. So only consider cash campaigns where the promoter has been compensated between $50,000 and $150,000 in cash. Anything less, and you're not dealing with a big enough promoter to get the results you'll need to make a profit. Now, the perfect storm. Okay, this is actually very hard to find, but occasionally you'll see 2 or more promoters receiving compensation for the exact same stock. If you find one promoter that was paid in shares and one being compensated in cash, and both meet the compensation requirements, this is what I call the perfect storm. These types of campaigns offer the best of both worlds, and it shows that the company is doing everything possible to attract investors to the company's stock. Now, oftentimes these campaigns are the ones that see 1,000% plus gains in a matter of weeks. Okay, I'm going kind of long here, so I'm going to wrap this up real quickly, but the guide that I've emailed you will contain much more detailed information that will help you profit from these promoted stocks. A few of the things the guide will cover are how to buy a promoted stock, limit orders versus market orders, the secret to the bid and ask price of promoted stocks, the ghost chart, maximizing your gains, when to sell, and how much to invest. In my recommended broker section, which is incredibly important as many brokers are not friendly to OTC and pink sheet stocks, which are primarily the ones that are promoted. You don't want to pay huge fees or have any buying restrictions because those will eat away your profits. I'm going to end this video now, and if you want to become a member of the Secret Stock Promoter for 1 full year, you can do so for a one-time fee. Now, this is the exact same service that my current members pay monthly for, but for a limited time, I'm going to offer it to you. With this service, you'll receive 2 to 4 promoted stock picks per month, and they will be the promotions that I am currently working on, and you'll receive them before I release them to the general public. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that every stock pick I give you will be a home run. The fact of the matter is that this is just not an exact science, and not every stock can be a winner. What I can tell you, though, is that I personally scrutinize each stock before it's sent out to make sure it provides the best opportunity for my members to profit. I'll also offer you a full 60-day guarantee on your one-time payment, so it's really a no-brainer. Anyway, thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to having you on board.